There's a lot of reasons to get punched in the face. You might be in the cage having a fight, you might be in the kebab shop 30 minutes past midnight, it might be the release date for the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection and you're in Super Games World and there's only one copy of it left for the Switch and everyone just starts swinging. But whatever reason, you've got to know how to take a punch to the face. Because we've got different lines of defense. Our first line of defense obviously is our feet. If we're out of range, we're not getting hit. Our second line of defense is just avoiding the shot with our trunk movement. Boom, our rolls, our slips, boom, boom. Our third line is our hands, forearms and shoulders being able to block, like we were talking about the other day, boom. But the last line is our head. Can't swim without getting wet, or as Michael Bisping said recently in a UFC fight night, you can't go in the ring without getting wet. Read into that what you will. But there's two ways to take a punch. Number one, on the top of our mush, like Ioanni and Jacek. So if a straight punch comes in, boom, taking it on the top of the head. We know we can't move out of the way, boom, taking it on the top of the head. There's a few pros and cons to this. One, obviously, we're taking it on the big, chunky part of our cranium, not the nose, not the eyes, not the chin, not anywhere that's going to get us knocked out, unless it's like a Chris Weidman versus Jacare situation. We can take this shot much better. And another thing about when you tuck your chin and you take it on the top of the head, it kind of makes like a weird triangle between your spine, here, and then maybe that's the hypotenuse. I didn't do maths enough. But it makes a strong structure. It's not just that we're taking it on a harder part of our head, it's actually the structure. This is a bit of a more straight up, weak structure. Boom, even if it hits us on the top of the head here, it jars our neck back. So, there's a few pros. One, it can actually do damage to his hand. Bang, bang.
Mike Perry's entire bare knuckle career.
I'm going to headbutt your hands. This actually worked for me in my Cage Warriors title fight because Kyle Driscoll hurt his hands. Oh, is he saying that he hurt his hands afterwards and was in a cast? So, it wasn't me getting jabbed or hit with the right hand. It was me counter-striking his punch with the top of my head. Another thing is we're in a strong position. We can trade straight away. We're in range. Down, bang. Down, bang. If we, a good counter-puncher can take a shot and land a shot pretty much at the same time. We look, even like Guillermo Rigondeaux, there's some really good examples. Back in the day, Chuck Liddell, they can kind of take the shot and land it at the same time. Boom. Boom. And it keeps our eyes on our opponent. We're not getting hit in the side of the head here and getting hit with a solid shot and looking away. It keeps our eyes on our opponent, keeps us solid. Now the downsides, especially in MMA gloves, we can still get cut. Boom, boom. Especially when people use these punches where they're chopped down like a Diaz. Boom, we can get cut. That's a big thing. We can still get knocked out. We run about Weidman, Jacare, loads of examples where someone just takes such a big heavy shot on the top of their head. Boom, get knocked out. Or we could get that Joanna Wi-Fi password, big fucking alien head hematoma. Those are the risks. Number two is much trickier to do. Harry's probably better at it than me. Is turning the head at the last second. Boom. Boom. Ilya Tapur actually did this a few times against Josh Emmett recently, where he turned his head, boom, and took the sting away. The best thing about this is it takes a lot more of the sting off the punch than just taking it square on the top of the head. And you can kind of come with a counter punch at the same time. Boom. The downside to this is if you time it wrong, you're getting hit on the soft part, you're getting hit across the side of the chin, and it can knock you out quite easy. And the other thing is that you are taking your eyes off your opponent. So you're looking away, maybe he's following up with combinations as I turn back in, I go into the next shot. There's some different examples of where this can be useful as well. Anderson Silva used this quite well against Dan Henderson and back in the Cage Rage days against Jorge Rivera, or as OJ Ball called him, George Riviera. From this clinch situation, he was trying to bomb right hands over. He's just timing that little turn of his head. Dan Henderson trying to throw these big right hands, he's just timing a little turn of his head. That's also because he's in the clinch and he's got the feel of it. He feels when the punch is coming. He doesn't just see when the punch is coming. But those are the two main ways. We either hit it with the top of our mush, kickboxing style, Nicky Holskin style. They're still scoring on you when they do that. And they can still be doing damage. And in MMA gloves, you can get chopped. like sliced up. But it's way better than getting hit on the tip of the chin, and we're always in position to see our opponent and fire back. Number 2 is rolling with it at the last second, like a reverted Duran. Boom, boom, like Anderson Silva would do in the clinch. Obviously that takes way more off. It can set us up, we can ride with it and counter at the same time, but we do take our eyes off our opponent, and there's a much, much greater consequence for timing it wrong.
You can also do that one. Another advantage of that one is you can do it while being mobile. Like, if you're on the move, you almost have to stop to take a shot on the forehead. Whereas if I'm moving around and he throws, like I don't have to do as much with my body.
So those are the 2 ways you can take a punch to the face, whether you're fighting, whether you're ordering that kebab at midnight, get it with extra garlic sauce. You're making sure you're getting that last copy of the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection in Super Games World. Whatever you're doing, whatever reason you're taking a punch, take it properly, take it one of those 2 ways. More breakdowns on the Patreon, more techniques on the Patreon. Give it a check out if you like fight rambling.